Good morning to all. My name is Sir Rajkumar from RK Academy. We are going to take classes for exclusively higher secondary mathematics. Today we are going to see the higher secondary second year, the chapter complex number. Before that complex number, you must know about the number system. I think already all of you know about the number system. Just a recap for that. Okay, number system. First, natural number. It starts from 1, 2, 3, etc. Whole number. It starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So, integers. So, all negative and positive number. So, what is the relation here? So, there is an additional qualification for whole number compared to natural number. And then additional qualification for integer compared to whole number, it's all negative numbers. Okay. So from these three, so natural number, 0 is the additional qualification compared to natural number, negative is additional qualification to compare whole number. Okay, so what about the rational number? Now we can say it's a 5. Is it a natural number? Yes, it's a natural number. Whole number? Yes, it's a whole number. Is it an integer? Yes, it's an integer. What is meant by rational number? We can write the rational number, it's in the form of p by q. So that is called a rational number, q not equal to 0. It's very important. Okay. So the denominator not must be equal to 0. Okay. Rational number, it's in the form of p by q. Okay. Is it it's a rational number or not? We can write in the form of rational number. Now it's in the form of p by q. So q not equal to 0, 1 not equal to 0. Okay. All the numbers are rational number. So what about the additional qualification for rational number? So all the numbers, just we put in denominator as 1. So all the natural whole integers are rational number. What about the additional qualification for rational number? Now listen, we are going to write a fraction 1 by 2. It's not an integer, it's not a whole number and natural number. 3 by 4, like that. We are writing the fractions. So it's the additional qualification for the rational number. Okay. After that, so what about the real number? What is meant by real number? It's a real number, all the numbers except square root, square root of negative numbers. So what is meant by square root of negative numbers? We can see minus 6, root of minus 6, root of minus 5, root of minus 8. We don't know how to explain this one. Up to 10th standard, we are not going to see these type of numbers. Okay, so all the numbers except square root of negative numbers is called real number system. So already we know about the real number system. In that real number system, all the numbers are in that real line. In that real line. Okay, so they introduce a new one. Sir, what is meant by that new one? So imaginary number. So what is meant by imaginary? It's an x-axis and y-axis. So what is, now listen, there is a resultant, solve. Before that we will solve. X square minus 1 equal to 0. So x square is equal to 1. X is equal to plus or minus root of 1. So we know that plus or minus 1. So now we know the solution. The two solutions, plus 1 and minus 1. Yes. Okay. X square plus 1 equal to 0. X square is equal to minus 1. X equal to plus or minus root of minus 1. Already intimated, except square root of negative numbers is called real number system. So it's not a real number. The solution is not a real. So they introduce a new one that is called imaginary. So what is that? X is equal to plus or minus I. Plus or minus I. So it's the imaginary, the y-axis. It's imaginary. It's a real axis. It's imaginary axis. Okay. Now listen. So what about that? Root of minus 1 is equal to I. Root of minus 1 is equal to I. Okay. How we can write in the form of P by Q is called a rational number, like that. Complex number, how to write a complex number? Complex number is in the form of A plus IB. Complex number is in the form of A plus IB. So what's mean by A plus IB? So A is called real part of that complex number, real part. So what about B? It's not BI, B. So it's an imaginary part of a complex number. Okay, so whenever we are going to write a number, it's in the form of A plus IB is called a complex number. Now let us see. 5 is a natural number, whole number, and then integer, rational number. It's a real number. Yes, it's a real number. So what about that? Is it a complex number? We are going to write in the form of A plus IB, so that is called complex number. Yes, we can write like this. The imaginary part is 0. 5 plus 0i. Now we can write this one as a plus IB form. Okay. Now 5 is called real part of Z and 0 is called imaginary part of Z. Okay. Sir, now what about that result? X is equal to plus or minus I. Is it a complex number? Because while writing a complex number is in the form of A plus IB, how to write this one? X is equal to 0 plus or minus I. Now here the real part is 0 and the imaginary part is 1. So real part is 0 and the imaginary part is 1. Okay. Now let us see. Okay, already we know about that. Root of minus 1, we introduce a imaginary number. So what about that? Taking positive square root on both sides. So it's I square. So I square is equal to root of minus 1. How to write I cube? I cube as I square into I. I square into I. What about that I square? It's minus 1 into I. So minus I is equal to I cube. So we know about that. I square is equal to minus 1. I cube is equal to minus I. Then how to write I power 4? I square into I square. So that is minus 1 into minus 1. So it's 1. I power 4 is equal to 1. Now there is a resultant. I square is equal to minus 1, I cube is equal to minus I power 4 is equal to 1. Yes. Now listen. So here we are going to write the complex number is in the form of A plus IB. A plus IB. Now let us see the exercise problems. Now it's the basic concept for complex numbers. We are going to see the exercise problem in the next class. Okay, thank you.